if there's one thing that I'm really good at is making fast relationships, man. I worked in the service industry for a decade, dude. That's all I did.
So talk about the correlation between the service industry, which I think everybody should have to start in, by the way, because it's brilliant. Correlation between the service industry and sales.
And so many things. I think the biggest thing is you understand that there's so many patterns and people fall in patterns and people are predictable in a certain manner where you just start to understand the customer, right? So there's always that's like the person that wants lots of water, person that wants to order everything right away. There's the person that I need to speak to a manager person. There's the person that drinks a ton of sweet tea. There's the heavy drinker. And you start to realize you start to understand your customers. And more importantly than that, you start to anticipate the needs of the guest when you do that. And I think that that's one of the things that I try to do in my business and in sales is you try to anticipate what's going to happen next, right?
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, man. Our guest today was just getting some hydration and water from his bottle over in Nashville, Tennessee with Arturo Johnson Consulting. He was on the channel once again, several times back. He keeps coming back. We keep bringing him back because you guys love him. Please welcome back Arturo Johnson.
Thanks for having me, man. You guys keep letting me in the door. I don't know why, but y'all keep leaving it open, so I just keep creeping right back on in. He does,
man. He's like one of those guys, man. That he sees everything as like a automatic door at the grocery store. You know what I mean? When he walks up and it opens, he's like, "I think I'm supposed to go in, man." You know?
Yeah,
go in. Most people in life, they don't go in. Like doors open in their life, and they don't seize the moment. But you do, man. You know? Have you always been that way?
Yeah, man. Opportunity is the opportunist. So first and foremost, I'm an optimist. So I'm always like excited about the future and looking for looking for what the future has to hold for me, which is I may not know it yet. I may not have figured it out, but over time, I'm a searcher and a seeker. So if it's possible, then if it's possible for somebody else, and it's possible for me. And I don't know if you remember this, but it wasn't too long ago where, you and I didn't know each other or you had never heard of me. You know what I mean? And
it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah.
So, for the people that are watching this is like in a very short period of time with intentionality, like a lot of gain can be ground, but it has to be authentic. It has to be genuine and it has to be done in a tasteful way. Right. So I saw this young guy that had blown up in 5 years. And I remember seeing you on the first person I ever seen live dial on YouTube, which caught my attention. And this was back when I was an agent too. So I was like, okay, this is the first time I've seen this. And that video, I still go back to it and look at it every now and then. But then I was like, man, well, he doesn't know me. He's doing something phenomenal. And I want to be a part of something that he's doing because I like the message and the energy that you bring. Yeah. And so I was like, well, how can I do this? So I'm like, well, you're doing a road show it was in Charlotte, I think.
Charlotte, yeah.
Yes. And my CMO, Earl Hall, had connected with you. And I was like, Earl, I can't make it, but if you can drive a couple hours, I'll get you the best ticket, right? I'll put you up. And if you've been a consulting client of Cody, I'm sure he will remember you because I know how he is. He remembers everybody's name. That this will probably be a good thing for us to build a new relationship. And so I purchased the book. And I remember reading through it and one part stuck out to me. So that was a great opportunity at that time. I was like, you know what? It'd be cool if when Earl got there, he had something to give to you that would probably make you stand out. And that's when I read that piece of the book to you and sent you that video message right then. Again, I didn't ask for anything. I was just basically celebrating like, hey, man, we're supporting you. Love what you're doing. And just want to support you. I'm curious on what your thoughts were when you received something like that.
Dude, it stands out, man. I mean, in life, you can be normal or you can stand out. Like I had a pastor a couple of years ago that said, maybe you're just fitting in when you were truly called to stand out, and you found a way to stand out. I loved it. I was like, okay, he's taking an interest in me. He has my book, which means he bought it. He's supporting me. He's reading it. He's taking time, right? Money, time, then actual effort with a video, like you were checking all the boxes for me when I'm looking to partner with people and do stuff with people. And so it stood out, man. And ever since it's like, you supported a lot of what we're doing, and we've been in a lot of the same rooms, and we're not done. Maybe we may be on a jet to Chicago next month, man.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely trying to make that
know?
happen. And I think that's one of the things when people watch some of the stuff is like they don't take the action. But more importantly, when it comes time to invest in themselves or the opportunity to pay, that's when we have the biggest form of resistance where, you know, if you want to get in some of these rooms, it's really, really easy if you really think about it.
It's easier than you think.
Yeah. If you just buy the ticket, invest in the coaching program, buy the coaching call. If you really want to get their time and attention, right, the easiest way to do it is just to kind of pay for it. And I mean, and that's 100%. What I did. Leverage, because people will remember you when you support them. Go ahead.
Totally. Isn't that one of the greatest tools we have to use in the world is money? And you can use it to advance, or you can be scared of it,
It's leverage, man. It really is. And it's really simple because, a lot of times people try to penny pinch their way to doing things. And I just think that if we would have more boldness and conviction in ourselves to invest, that it may be a little bit out of the budget, but reciprocation has this funny way of giving back way more than you put in, right? So if you plant an apple seed, you don't just get one apple, you get an apple tree. So, and I'm a huge component of that, coming to some of the events that I was able to invest in myself to come to some of your stuff, man, the relationships I was able to build, the network, the revivement of my mentality, the business that I got from it, it came back tenfold. And I think that sometimes when we look at things as a bill, right, or an expense as opposed to an investment, that's kind of where we go wrong. And that kind of holds us back from pulling the trigger on it. And you just got to believe in yourself and know that the biggest investment that you're going to make is definitely going to be in yourself. 100%.
100%. Yep. It's totally true. You said something a few minutes ago, made me think about something. You said something that when I was calling leads live on video, it was phenomenal. Why does that have to be phenomenal?
Well, it's just the boldness and bravery that most people use platitudes and they kind of tell you what you need to do and what you need to say. But nobody had actually just shown up on video and said, I'm going to lead by example and just freaking do it and show you how it's supposed to be done. That's what the pros do, right?
Yeah.
End of the game, we don't need to draw up a play. Get me the ball.
Yeah.
Get out the way. I've practiced this 1,000 times. I've taken this shot multiple times. It doesn't matter who they put on me on the defense. I'm going to make the shot regardless. So the winners, right? The pros that have practiced, they're ready for the moment. And I said this at my breakout session at your at 8%, is that amateurs practice until they get it right and professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. And so when I saw you, the first thing I thought was, oh, this isn't the first time he's done this. So he's not just on here as an insurance guy. He's actually lived this. And now he's walking the walk as opposed to everybody else just talking the talk.
Yes. That was my first time ever. My first time ever calling a lead. Yeah. But dude, maybe we should bring that back, man. I mean, shoot, if me and you and our buddy John Wetmore, three of us are dialing leads. We'll have to send him a clip of this. Three of us are dialing leads. Who would book the most appointments?
Woo! I'm always up for a challenge, and I know you are for sure. Yeah, man, that would be definitely interesting. And shout out to John Wetmore, man. He just like the epitome of wisdom and sales, man. He's always posting content, talking about how how to think through the sale, how to focus. But more importantly, he always talks about that 40-hour work week, which is probably my favorite thing that he came up with. It's so genius. It's like, man, if I could just treat this, I know I'm an entrepreneur, but if I treated myself like I was on my job working 40 hours a week and I actually did 40 hours worth of work, I probably could make a good living doing this, which is super genius. So yeah, shout out to John Whitmore. And that's,
but you didn't answer the question.
What's the question?
Who would win?
Oh, me for sure.
You shut up.
Like what? I didn't even hear your question because that was a no-brainer. It's like, come on, man.
This isn't who can create the cheapest Facebook lead. This is
Oh man. If there's one thing that I'm really good at is making fast relationships, man. I worked in the service industry for a decade, dude. That's all I did.
So talk about the correlation between the service industry, which I think everybody should have to start in, by the way, because it's brilliant. The correlation between the service industry and sales.
Man, so many things. I think the biggest thing is you understand that there's so many patterns and people fall in patterns, and people are predictable in a certain manner where you just start to understand the customer, right? So there's always that's like the person that wants a lots of water, person that wants to order everything right away. There's the person that I need to speak to a manager person. There's the person that drinks a ton of sweet tea. There's the heavy drinker. And you start to realize, like, you start to understand your customers. And more importantly than that, you start to anticipate the needs of the guest when you do that. And I think that that's one of the things that I try to do in my business and in sales is you try to anticipate what's going to happen next, right? I think as a server, I got to meet the great Wayne Gretzky when he was a player and he transitioned into a coach when Nashville got their first hockey team. And one of the things that everybody always talks about him is that they said, why were you so good? What made you great? He said he always wasn't focused on where the puck was, it's where it was going. And the way that translates into sales is because a lot of times, like as sales professionals, the only thing we focus on is the tactics, right?
Yeah.
Is give me the script and I just want to repeat this, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. And
that's the easy part too. That's the easy part. Yeah.
Yeah. Super easy. But like, then it's the strategies, right? And then the second to last thing is the principles and then the essence of it. And in working in the service industry, I just talked to so many people. I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations, which allowed me to make a new friend really quickly, anticipate a guest's needs, and then quickly, add value so that I can get a tip.
Yep. You have spoke to a lot more people over the course of your life than me. You know how I know that's true?
Yeah.
Because you're a lot older than me.
Hey man, just keep living. You'll be there soon, but I'm not that much older than you. What is it, like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
You're 37, 38 right now?
33.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I have been around the block a little bit. I just hit 40, so I'm getting on up there, but I'm just getting started.
Dang, man. Dude. Congratulations, man. What does it feel like to enter a new, like, just time frame in life, man? Just a new decade, like that? Like,
well, yeah, man, life's good, man. I think that you always gotta, easier said than done, but you try to count your blessings. You try to focus on getting better every day, every year, right? Like they say, as wine ages, it gets better. I'm always just trying to get better. I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to meet new people. I'm trying to level up my skills. I'm just excited about the future, man. Just where things are taking me. I'm speaking on stages. Now I'm an author, coach, speaker, mentor, father, right?
Boss.
All of those things.
Jefe.
Yeah, El Jefe, baby. So, life is good, man.
What about the energy piece? You mentioned something earlier. You said something at the very beginning. Talked about my energy, which I do think energy is an attractor for people. And so my energy is, it's not always right, by the way, but compared to most people in the world, it's pretty right. Why is that such a driver and attraction and attention piece that most people ignore? A lot of people lack energy.
Yeah, that's very simple. Again, so I'm a nerd, so I always like to focus on the principles and the essence of things. So there's 4 levels of learning. The first level is tactics, and that's just where you show somebody what to do. And then the strategies is the how and the when. And most people stay stuck in there. And the reason why is because they just see somebody do something and they try to do it. And then they wonder why they don't get the results. It's because they don't understand the principles. Yeah. And the cool thing about principles is if you think about physics, any principle applies to another principle. So the same principles that make a plane fly can also make your business grow, can also make your finances soar. And what most people don't do is they don't understand principles. What does principles have to do with anything? Well, principles is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, right? So what happens is when you like have higher energy, right? Like you can then transfer that to someone else, right? People, it's infectious. Like people want to be around high energy. It's just one of those things. And so since it can't be created nor destroyed, the only thing it can do is be transferred. You can transfer belief, confidence. When you have those things, it just magnetizes people towards you. And so that's one of those principles in that fashion. And then the fourth level of learning, which is essence, which is the true nature and the character. And that's where it comes is your nature to try to serve people, to try to connect and help people, right? Man was not created to be alone, right? So that's of our nature, right? And then our character, that's just your natural character, is you're just a high energy character.
Dude, you're so smart, man. You know.
Stop, man. But I think to tie that back into like sales, I think most times, like, you know, the biggest thing that we all as business owners, what we need to focus on, which is like a lot of things that we talk about, sales, leads, marketing, is we don't put enough energy into the thing, right? We don't put out enough, right? Like you always talk about that, you know, you put out what, 8 to 20 pieces of content every single day, right? When you were dialing 100 to 200 leads, right? Trying to book a bunch of appointments, going to a bunch of events, like investing in yourself. I feel like sometimes we do a little bit and expect this huge result. And I'm just curious on what your thought is about how much you put out, how much energy it takes to win, to be not just win, but be the best, and like what that requires.
Yeah, way more than people think, you know, like it just always takes more. Anything in life, it's just going to take more than you think, you know? And I heard something recently about most people are like looking at someone and they're like comparing themselves to them. And they're like, wow, I can't, goodness gracious. How the heck did they become who they are? You know? But what's funny is if you're the other person that the person is looking at and like oohing and awing about, that other person is like, feels like they're not even as far as they are and that they should be farther, you know? So the other person's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe them. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. You know what I mean? So it's just funny. It's a testament to like how much it truly takes. Like it takes a lot, dude. It takes way more than we think.
Yeah, for sure. And you definitely push that to the max, because I remember just a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, yeah, man, you should do some road shows. And then you're like, yeah, I'm going to do a few. And then at first it was 10. And then you text me and you're like, dude, I'm doing 40 cities. And I'm like, bro, you are absolutely insane.
You did tell me, you're like, hey, dude, you should do more of these. Like, I want to be a part of these. How many are you going to do? And what's funny is at that point, I'm like, I wasn't doing any.
Yeah,
you're like,
I know.
You're like, yeah, I want to do some. I'm like, yeah, me too. You know,
well,
I'm like, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm like, give me a few hours.
Yeah, it was. That's what I'm saying. It was funny because it went from like 0 to 40 in a matter of weeks. And the only reason why I mentioned that is because like after coming to one of your events, investing in myself, I got to meet people like Roy Schnar, Jesse Parks, Nate Offord, right? I got to meet some of those people, and like we enjoyed those things. I'm like, well, there's no more. That was the last one. So I'm like, okay, well, the party just ended and I was just getting started. So I'm like, hey man, we need to do some more of those. And then you're like, yeah, you want to do some? Here's 40.
I'm like, do them all, Arturo. Come to all of them, all 40. You know, I was talking to a guy earlier. He's in Connecticut, and he wants to speak. And I'm like, dude, come speak at Uniondale, New York. You know, New York City event next week. And I'm like, oh, come to the Philly one the next day. Oh, and then come to DC the day after that. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, why not? Why wouldn't you? And, you know, he's like, I don't know. I didn't think about it like that. You know, I'm like, dude, I'm driving 19 hours. Least you can do is drive 2.5, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing to see you put some stuff together that fast. It's just, I mean, this goes to show that, you know, you got a great mind, but you also got a great team too, for you guys to put some stuff on like that. And I got to see that firsthand. That was the first thing I texted you after the event was you guys didn't miss one beat. And your team, I talked to pretty much, I know a majority of them. I don't know them all well, but, you know, I've had conversations with them. And just to see how they operated as a unit. And I know behind the scenes, there's probably a bunch of chaos, but it looked pretty good to me.
Thanks, man. Yeah, there always is. But like, yes, it takes a really good team. It takes somebody driving the ship and pushing, but it also takes somebody that like has some really high standards. Like that's important. You know, like we don't put up with average. We just don't because I've been average too much. And I feel like I still am. And it drives me nuts, you know? And it also takes, I've learned the faster that I go from I should do this, like an idea, to actually doing it, the more successful it is every single time.
Why do you think that is?
Most people, we overthink stuff and we talk ourselves out of stuff, and we start thinking, I don't know. And time, we always hear the phrase time kills all deals. Well, if you add a bunch of time, you'll come up with something else to do. You'll change it. You'll do it differently. You won't do it. You'll talk yourself out of it. Somebody else will talk you out of it, whatever. And I've just got to where if I know it's the right thing, I'm like, how fast can I bring this to life? And it's more fun and it's more successful because of the urgency behind it.
Yeah.
Like my back against the wall and I have no time. Team's freaking out. We're slammed. I can't believe we're going to do this. This is nuts. Like we got the local like graphic design printing company in town. And I had them wrap the trailer and I'm like, hey, I'm going to drop the Sprinter off. I need it done by Friday. This was like yesterday. And they're like, dude, this normally takes like 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks. I'm like, yeah, you get 4 days, like, yeah, we got other clients. Yeah. But you're going to move them down. You're going to put me ahead of them. You're going to charge me more if you want, and you're going to get it done in 4 days. Like that's what you get. Or I'm going to take it somewhere else. Do you want my work or not? And
did they get it done? And
they're going to get it done. Yeah. They're going to get it done.
That's amazing.
But it's like, dude, why sit and wait? It's like, so I was with Brandon Todd yesterday and he said, most people think he's rude, but he says, I just care enough to be direct. He said, most people think I'm rude, but I just care enough to be direct. And it's funny because most people are like, they want the check at the restaurant, but they're too ashamed to tell the waiter or waitress. Do you talk about service industry?
Yeah.
Please go get my check. I would like to pay now. I would like to leave. I would like to give you money. I'll tip you more if you give it to me and not make me wait, But people are like, I don't want to be direct. It's like an agent that's failing or a salesperson in my office or in your office that's not doing well. The worst thing we can do is be like, nah, dude, you're trying, man. You're doing okay. You're doing fine. You're doing good. Whatever. We'll figure it out. No. Like they're bombing. So I'll be like, dude, you may be a good dude. You may think you're trying, but you are doing terrible. Like you are freaking bombing. And I'm guessing you don't want to bomb and you don't want to do terrible and you would like to do well. Is that fair? Yes. Okay, cool. Well, how about you start doing better? How about I start helping you so that you stop sucking at this? And then what am I doing? I'm caring enough to be direct.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that like, as we're moving into this post C19 era, like a lot of things are just getting blended and soft. And like, we're just getting further and further away from the truth, right? Which is just like,
Correct.
Like we just need to stick to the facts. And that's really where I like to operate. Yes. But you said something I thought was interesting too, which is about having high standards. And you got a team that excels pretty well. Like, how are you finding such gems in SPOMO like that, man? Like you got
Springfield, Missouri.
Yes. How? Like I was talking to Dylan before we started, and I was like, "Hey, man, did you create this?" And you do the videos, and he does all this. He was like, "Yeah, I did that." And I'm like, it was impressive to me.
Yeah.
With our team trying to attempt to do it. So how are you able to recruit and attract talent in Springfield, Missouri, dude?
Dude, the better you get, the better people want to be a part of it, And then when people see it, they're like, I didn't know this existed,
Wow.
We got a new video guy. He's freaking awesome, impressive. He told Cassidy on the tour, he's like, I didn't know this existed in Springfield, Missouri, And so as we grow, the more people learn about it, but also the better we get, the better people we attract, right? And so most people, they think it's good to have like an average assistant or an average person in their office. Dude, it ain't good. It's killing them, It's actually hurting them from getting better people because they're allowing average people, and then the great people don't want to sit with the average people or work with them. And so by holding on to the average, they're killing themselves from keeping the great. Here's one thing I did want to ask you, and then I want to funnel to if they want to reach out or get help from you. If someone said, hey, dude, what is Arturo Johnson Consulting and how can you help me? What would you say?
So essentially, Arturo Johnson Consulting is a coaching and consulting firm for life and business. And at the moment, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs who specialize in insurance. But holistically, we help all different kinds of businesses. We focus mainly on the entrepreneur. And so Arturo Johnson Consulting is a company that cares about their clients, believes that leads is the lifeblood of the business, that everybody needs a mentor or a coach, and everybody needs to get good at sales. And so anybody that's looking for help in those areas, personally, myself, I feel like I'm the best life and business coach in the game. So that's what Arturo Johnson is about, and that's what we believe.
I love it, man. If they want to learn more, how do they go about doing that? Where do we send them?
You could just go to my Instagram, man, at Arturo Johnson Consulting. It's the easiest way to reach out to me. I post videos and content, helpful, not just about business, but also about life and beliefs. And so if you want an authentic place to go to follow somebody, that's a breath of fresh air, focuses on the truth, the things I believe, being a husband, a father, and a Christian, also believing in relationships, and strategic partnerships, and that wants to grow your business, that's a good place to go to get some good information.
I love it, dude. Thank you for being back on the podcast. Welcome back. I love spending time with you, bro. Thanks for being here.
God bless. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, homie. Thank you guys for listening to Power Player Podcast. Dude, if you like Arturo, let me know in comments below. If you don't like Arturo and you never want him back, let me know in comments below, but I bet that's not the case. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.